welcome to Beware the Turbo. Today the deck will called the Ultimate Shock, featuring the new Eelektrik from Lost Origin with the Ad Hoc Shock ability to flip a coin as you evolve this Pokemon from your hand, paralyzing opponent's active Pokemon if you flip a heads. So we're trying to use this card with the amazing item lock effect from our Vikavolt V's Paralyzing Bolt attack, locking our opponent from switching their Pokemon on the next turn. We're also playing 2 Zapdos and 1 Choice Bell for the damage boost, 4 Melony and 1 Pokegear to help us attack fast, 1 Reading Greninja, 1 Kyurem V, 2 Melony, 2 Research, 1 Shauna and 1 Birdkeeper for the draw, 4 VP Pass, 4 Quick Ball, and 2 Stormy Mountain to summon our basic Pokemons, 2 Level Ball for Eelektrik to evolve, 1 Escape Rope, 1 Switch, 1 Air Balloon, and 1 Scuba Net for the switch, 2 Energy Surge to help us get our basic Water for Melony, or our basic Lightning for Vikavolt, depending on what we already have in our hand. We also have 1 Suicune to help us draw an extra card from the top deck, and also to do big damage early in the game with Melony. As an additional attacker, we have an Eelektros, doing 160 damage with Extreme Current for 1 Lightning and 1 Colorless, discarding 2 energy from this Pokemon. We also have 1 Raihan for the energy boost, 1 Boss's Order, 1 Paw Pad, and 1 Training Card. Finally, for the energies, we're playing 3 Speed, 2 Basic Lightning, and 7 Basic Water Energy. We also have an alternate list that plays Flaaffy instead of Melony for the energy acceleration. This list also features our Zamazenta V that was one-shot a Kyurem or Ice Order VMAX against Palkia V-Star matchups. It also has the bonus Regal Stance ability that allows you to discard your hand once your turn and draw 5 cards. But your turn ends if you use this ability. We also have 1 Raikou instead of Suicune, 2 Aurora, 1 Capture, and 1 Basic Metal Energy. So that's all for the deck list. Now let's go for some gameplays! Okay, let's go for our first game versus Deoxys VMAX with Deoxys V-Star, the new Zeraora Deoxys box. They're playing a very new card here, and I actually forgot about these new releases and did not manage to post them. So if you check on YouTube, there are already a lot of videos on them. Deoxys decks and Zeraora decks. I think the Sablaze posted it first, which is really surprising because he's been cold for so long. We all know he's been in Pokemon Worlds. Didn't manage to ask him how it went, but it was good news. Anyways, now we're up against Deoxys with Bibarel, and they actually have Jirachi to help them connect those energies to their bench Pokemon. So if they have like their active V Pokemon knocked out, it actually only works on basic Pokemon though. So if their basic V cards in the active spot is knocked out, you get to transfer, you get to move a basic energy. Well, I think it only works on basic though, I'm not too sure. You get to move a basic energy attached to that Pokemon onto any one of your Pokemon on the bench, you know, when it gets knocked out. So Jirachi is quite terrible in a sense, just because it's an experience share effect. Your opponent can quite easily play Path to the Peak to shut it down, and they can do it on their turn before knocking you out, and it only works on your basic Pokemon V, which is so limiting, right? It's not only basic Pokemon, it's Pokemon V as well, so that means it doesn't work on your 1 prize cards, which is just terrible. Jirachi has the worst ability. It's not too bad though, we actually featured its ability in one of our videos with a Ditto V weakness box, which is pretty cool, with super effective glass as well. So if you guys want to check it out, just go to our channel and filter Jirachi deck. So we did Fleetfoot, and I think we're gonna play Melony this turn. Oh, no Melony, unfortunately. Okay, here comes the Bibarel. So we're doing a knockout on the Jirachi on the next turn, because we got a Choice Belt on the Suicune. And Deoxys is slowly charging up for the knockout. I remember this brings back memories, right? Because if you play Pokemon TCG when it first got released, when the online platform first got released, you would be very familiar with Deoxys EX, which actually has the Helix Force attack, and it does like 30x damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon, which is pretty cool. And they're bringing it back on the V-Star though. They're bringing back a Star Helix, I think, Star something. Javelin Dive is the you know, the normal attack of the V-Star, but it has the Star attack. The Star Power attack is basically the same as the Helix Force from the old Deoxys EX. But it's now 60x damage, obviously, because, you know, of the HP boost, the spike, what's it called again? The power creep in HP. So they actually have to boost the amount of damage that it does. 30x is a lot though, back then. and now 60x is a lot. So 60x is basically the equivalent of the old 30x. It's a Plasma card as well. Team Plasma's Deoxys EX, which is pretty cool. That means you get to play Plasma Energy. I think it only works if you have a Plasma Energy attached to it. So that Deoxys is a bit weird. It's actually a Team Plasma Pokemon, and you only get to do the bonus effect if you have the Plasma Energy attached to your Deoxys. So that means it only does the extra 30 for each energy attached to both active if you have that special energy attached. And here comes Double Turbo with Psychic. I was quite certain they're going to pull off a Rose, but instead they did a Double Turbo. They're doing 20 less damage. That means Deoxys VMAX is only doing 140, which is very low, but they are recovering damage done to their Pokemon with Max Drain every single turn. So they got both the Deoxys V-Star and VMAX in play, which is pretty cool. And now we're going to paralyze them on the next turn. We actually got a Tynamo on the bench, but remember you actually have to flip a coin. So that means you may not get a heads and you may not get the paralysis. So never expect too much from the coin flips, honestly, because you never know what you're going to get. Okay, we're just going to quick ball for something. And then play the research. So we got 4 VIP powers for this deck just because we want to be getting out as fast as possible our basic Pokemons into the game. When I first built this deck, we had Flaaffy, we had only 1 copy of Zapdos, and at one point we actually did not have a Zapdos because we wanted to fit in more attackers to make it, you know, stronger against multiple matchups. But eventually we just decided to add, you know what, let's just do Melony with Suicune. Because Melony makes you, it gives you, you know, the potential of doing a turn 1 item lock. And that is a very powerful, effect. Turn 1, if they can't use their item on their second turn going first, or well, on their first turn going second, on their second turn going second, whatever, you know, whoever goes first, it doesn't matter. If they can't use their item cards on their second turn, then it would be quite terrible. Because if you go second, you can use it on your first turn. If you go first, you have to use it on your second turn, obviously. So using Paralyzing Bolt can actually stop them from playing cards like Incense, Scoop Up Net for the Regigigas decks, Ordinary Rod, Quick Ball, Ultra Ball. So many cards is denied, and we actually got matched up against Mew VMAX and got pretty close at winning. But just because Vikavolt is doing much less damage than we wanted to, and we almost won though just because Meloetta actually killed us at the last second, so I was quite depressed. We got really close at winning that game, but we couldn't manage to fit into this video. Meloetta at the final second, at the final hour, decided to just play Elisa for 280 damage, killing our Vikavolt with 1 hit. So it's just crazy. Meloetta is just terrible. All we need though is to kill off the one Meloetta because they actually have the special energy spreaded to all of their other Pokemons. That means if we kill the Meloetta, they have no attackers, no Mew left on the bench. And we couldn't even do that just because we have no extra attackers. We only have Vikavolt and Eelektros, and we couldn't get the Eelektros out because we have no Ultra Ball in this deck. We have only Level Ball, no Ultra Ball, so it's a bit difficult to play. If you run out of attackers, it would be quite bad, but we do have Suicune to fall back on. Only 2 Vikavolt, and Zapdos can also attack against Miltank, so we want to be thinking about countering as much decks as we can. If they play Miltank, we have our Zapdos to do 110 damage, which is exactly enough to kill off the Miltank without the cape. And Gardevoir doesn't work. Gardevoir only protects, you know, reduced damage done to your Pokemon by 20, done by your opponent's V card. So if your opponent is playing a 1-price Pokemon, the damage doesn't get reduced. So right now we're up against a Lunatone Solrock deck. If they can't play item, that means they can't scoop out their Pokemon, they can't switch. They're forced to retreat. If they can't play items, it means they can't do Rescue Carrier. Pokestop is not going to do a lot for them. They can't do Rescue Carrier, Fog Crystal, Energy Search. What else can't they do? Ultra Ball, I guess. Quick Ball to discard the energy. They can still play Research though. There we go. Okay, this is actually an interesting game because they have not just the Lunatone Solrock, they also have the Flying Pikachu. So they are trying to counter a mirror match, because if they play against a mirror Lunatone Solrock deck, then they would actually have the advantage playing a Flying Pikachu for the basic protection. So if they hit with Max Balloon, they can actually protect their Pikachu. They get a full force protection against basic Pokemon. So that means Lunatone, Regigigas is not going to be able to get past Pikachu unless if they have enough boss. They need like 5 bosses just to deal with the Pikachu, unless if they collect the first few prizes early. So they can't actually charge out the Pikachu that easily unless if they do a Thornton at the last minute. If they Thornton on the Lunatone and evolve, playing the Lunatone on the last turn, if they bench it on the last turn, they can actually do Thornton and then evolve into the VMAX. Keeping those 2 Psychic Energy on the Lunatone, on the transformed Lunatone, and then attach a Lightning or Aurora Energy from their hand to do Max Balloon. So that would be quite interesting. Because you wouldn't need to play Melony or Rose, or well, they can't play Melony because they need Psychic Energy. So you wouldn't need to play Rose to charge up your VMAX. You can instead play Thornton. Or maybe you could just think about adding both, because Rose, you are attaching from the discard pile with Rose, and maybe if you do like Radiant Venusaur, you could draw cards with your Sunny Bloom ability, but I don't think you have that much space for the bench support, because you need enough Soul Rocks to help you do enough damage with your Lunatone. They only have 1 Soul Rock right now, which is quite terrible. I think we actually locked them on the last turn, and now they decided to do a boss. They couldn't play their balls to get extra Soul Rocks into play. I suppose that's the reason. So the second turn item lock is very, very important. If you can pull it off on the second turn, it's gonna help you a lot. If you go first, it's gonna be much easier. If you go second, it's a bit harder to do it on your first turn. If you go first, you have to do it on your second turn because you can't attack. Okay, for this game, we actually have Megearna. Megearna from Lost Origin, the new card which actually does 120 damage if you have a tool card attached to it for 1 metal and 2 colorless. That means you get to play Flaaffy to charge it up. We are playing Flaaffy for this list. So instead of Megearna, we eventually decided to swap it out for a Zamazenta V, just because it's doing way more damage late game. It's doing 120 base plus 30 more for each prize card your opponent has taken. That means if they play Kyurem VMAX with Palkia V-Star, we got not just Vikavolt to hit for the water weakness, but also our Zamazenta V to kill off the Kyurem/Ice Rider VMAX with 1 hit. But we can only use our Zamazenta once they knocked out one of our Pokemons, because if we bench it way too early, they're just gonna boss knock it out, or we may not be able to do enough damage before they do that, right? If we want to hit fast before they do the boss, we actually have to attack first, and if we do, we are only doing 240 damage. Even with the Choice Belt, is not enough to kill off the VMAX, because we got no Hawlucha. That means we're only doing 150 multiplied by 2. We can actually lock them, do the item lock for the knockout. So 300 plus 50 damage from Paralyzing Bolt is enough to kill the Kyurem. And if we kill the Kyurem with our Vikavolt, doing the second strike, we can actually lock them from playing cards like Capacious Bucket, Ordinary Rod, what else? Energy Surge, whatever. Ultra Ball, Incense, they can't actually evolve that easily. So if they don't get the V-Star out yet, it might actually buy you a second turn for you to do the boss to kill off the Palkia on the bench. Something like that. So item lock, don't underestimate the item lock. If they play a lot more items to get their evolution. They actually have Irida though, so it doesn't really it's not really that effective, because Irida helps you get your Palkia V-Star, your VMAX as well. So if you're playing a water deck, it's much more easier to evolve. If you place any other deck though, I think it's a bit more difficult, because you need either Adventurous Discovery to get past the item lock. Otherwise, Incense is not going to work. Ultra Ball is not going to work. Okay, we actually have a big Parasol for this list as well. We wanted so bad to counter a Sableye, because we lost so many times against Sableye in one of our previous deck that we built. I forgot which one, but we keep losing to Sableye. And we got so frustrated that we finally decided to build either a Aspeon VMAX deck or a Mr. Rime, Galarian Mr. Rime. From, I wanted to build a Galarian Mr. Rime so bad, because it is actually a 1 price card instead of the VMAX. But eventually decided to make this one, because it has the big Parasol potential. And eventually I just thought, you know what, we don't actually need it, because if they have a Sableye, they can actually do it quite easily. So the reasoning behind it is that if we have a big Parasol attached to our Vikavolt, they actually can't use Lost Mine to target any of our Pokemon with damage counters, because Effects of Attacks doesn't work against all of your Pokemon if you have your big Parasol attached to your active, but they can quite easily do a boss or Escape Rope to basically get past the big Parasol, but they can't actually play Escape Rope, because if we did Paralyzing Bolt on our last turn, they can't actually play the item Escape Rope. But the thing about Paralyzing Bolt is that you're not doing a lot of damage. If you want to do a knockout against high HP Pokemons like Giratina V-Star, or any V cards for that matter, or even a Radiant Charizard, if you want to do a knockout against those Pokemons, you need to use your Super Zap Cannon, or even Suicune, or your Extreme Current Eelektros. If you use those attacks, you cannot use the item, like your opponent is not locked from using their item cards on the next turn. That means they can actually play Escape Rope, they can play all of their item cards. Big Parasol is not going to work. They can even play Lost Sweep to lost your Big Parasol. So the reasoning behind the item lock is that if we can kill the Comfey with our Zapdos on the bench, we can actually lock them from playing their item. They can't play Mirage Gate, they can't play Scoop Up Net, Air Balloon, a lot of things. They can't play their Lost Sweep as well. That means they cannot get past the Big Parasol, right? Until they are able to somehow, do a boss to trap us, or somehow force us to play our Super Zap Cannon for the knockout. So if they play a full-on Lost Box, I think we stand a pretty good chance at winning, as long as if we can lock them from using the item fast enough. If we got the Melony early, we can actually do our first knockout with double Zapdos easy. We have that one Heavy Ball to get the other Zapdos out if we get stuck. It's actually recommended to play 3 copies of Zapdos in his deck, just because if we are up against a Lost Box, which is very common these days, so if you're up against any Lost Box, they're probably going to play not just the Comfey, but also the Cramorant. That means you actually got, all you need is 1 Zapdos on the bench to kill the Cramorant with your Paralyzing Bolt. And not just that, you're collecting a prize and also locking them from playing their items on the next turn. And that means they can't do switches, they can't play, balls, they can't play a lot of things. They can't search for their energies with, Energy Search or Mirage Gate. So we are paralyzing the active with our ability. And then now we're gonna just lock them from retreating, from switching. So Pikachu is charging up on the bench. It's ready to attack on the next turn. They actually do have the basic lightning energy. I don't know how they managed to get the basic energy out. It's pretty crazy. And I don't know how they managed to have 3 Solroks right now. I think we were phased out a bit. So anyways, they did a boss to force us to either switch or waste our energy doing Extreme Current. So Eelektross actually does have the Coil attack, which actually helps you do 120 more damage on your next turn, which is pretty cool. Because Coil is quite famously a snake attack. If you are a rattlesnake like Arbok or Akans, I think Arbok, only Arbok, I'm not too sure. There isn't a Akans Arbok for Sword and Shield though, but there is a Sandaconda with the coil attack that allows you to do 120 more damage on your next turn with any attack that Sandaconda do. Provided your opponent doesn't play a boss or escape rope. Because if they basically push your Pokemon out of the active, that means you can't actually have the effect on the next turn. Your effect is basically deactivated. Because for that effect to stay activated, you actually have to stay in the active spot for, you know, not just this turn, but also the next. Just before attacking. Okay, now they got the Max Balloon. Now we're forced to attack with Eelektros. They did not do a boss, thank God, because they could quite easily do retreat boss the Eelektros. They should have kept the boss though, because they got the boss in their hand just now. If they kept the boss, they could have dealt with the Eelektros by killing, by knocking it out with Max Balloon, because Max Balloon is doing 160 damage, which is exactly enough to kill off our stage 2 Eelektros. And then they got the basic protection. I think we actually have a Rod for this list though. We have a Rod and Flaaffy, so I don't think we should be that worried about the Pikachu. Eventually I decided to scrap the Rod just because if we have a lot more water energy in the deck, well, we are playing Flaaffy for this list, but I don't know what's the reasoning behind the Flaaffy not having a Rod. But for the Melony deck, the reason we don't have a Rod is because, there we go, we do have a Rod for this game. The reason we don't is because we need more energy inside the deck for us to pull off the first turn Melony if we go second. If we go second, we can actually discard the water energy with Greninja and then play Energy Surge to get our lightning energy, do the switch, and then Melony for Paralyzing Bolt on the first turn going second, locking them from playing items, you know, immediately on their second turn. So you are actually forced to discard 2 energies from Eelektros if you want to do Extreme Current for 160 damage, which is not a lot. You know, you don't need to discard a lot. And we actually have Flaaffy to help us charge up our Pokemon as well. So Flaaffy is actually helping not just your Vikavolt, Raikou, and Eelektros. It's also helping you charge up your Metal Pokemon for you to attack Ice Rider for double the damage. 210 damage is enough to kill anything. We got 1 remaining prize, so they should be watching out. We got way too many attackers though. We're gonna do Magearna. We're gonna attack with Magearna for the win because we got the tool card attached to it. It's not doing 150, it's only doing 120 because we are up against a 1 prize. Lunatone. They do have Pikachu, but I mean the active. Okay. We don't need to do anything else, honestly. We just need to attach to the active and kill. I forgot the attack. Wind up beam. Wind up beam, wind up arm. Wind up, wind up, wind up. So you are confusing the opponent's Pokemon as well. But I don't think you need wind up arm for that. Because if you are going to sleep, like Snorlax, you actually, you know, you would actually need to play wind up arm. I thought about Snorlax with wind up arm, but eventually decided to build some other deck. And then immediately on the next day, I saw For the Win posting a Snorlax with wind up arm. I got so pissed with that. Like, I wanted to save that for my second post after I finished off. I forgot which one that I was working on. I think I was working on the Stonjourner one. So I was working on Stonjourner and the Snorlax at the same time, and I finally decided to just focus on the Stonjourner instead of the Snorlax, and wanted to do Snorlax like on not the next, but some future post, because the next video I had something in mind as well. So eventually he just took it, which is just annoying. It's quite consistent though, because Snorlax does 180 damage, and then all you need is to play like Kyurem or Flaaffy to charge it up, and then wind up arm to basically attack constantly if they don't knock you out, if they choose to, if they want to trap you, if they plan on trapping you with the sleep condition by playing like Lost Mine or Bench Snipe to kill your Pokemons on the bench, you can actually still attack with your active, with your wind up arm. So that's the power of the new tool card. Even if you're paralyzed or paralyzed or asleep, you can still attack. So Paralysis isn't really doing much right now. We got Wind Up Arm against Paralysis, and there's gonna be a new stadium for the next set. I think Paradigm Trigger. I'm not sure if it's gonna be out for Silver Tempest. But the new stadium is actually called National Park, I think. And it allows you to remove all confuse conditions. So all Pokemons are recovered from confusion. That's basically it, right? Both active Pokemon, because obviously your bench Pokemon can't be confused. So both active Pokemon, both players' Pokemons cannot be confused. So that means not only do you recover from the confusion, you also cannot be confused in the future or right now. You can't be confused, period. As long as that stadium is in play, obviously. So we just need to get our second Zapdos and then deal with the Comfy by knocking out. I think we have the second one prize. So that means we need to play Heavy Ball. We need to get it out. Dig for the Heavy Ball. We don't have our Melony. We don't have our Lightning Energy. So we're not able to knock it out this turn, unfortunately. Oh well. We got Menifee on the bench, I think. Is that a Menifee? Sorry, I actually have a recording bar that is blocking part of my view right now. Yep, that's a Menifee. Okay, we got Bird Keeper, VIP Pass. We should be playing the VIP Pass first. I'm not sure if we want to be saving the bench spot for a Zapdos, or... We should definitely be benching the Zapdos though, right? But we actually benched a Suicune. I don't know why I did that. We got the Heavy Ball, we got the VIP Pass, but we're just deciding not to play the item lock. I don't know why we did that. Like, that is just weird. Oh, I think I know why now. Because we don't have Lightning Energy. And it's a bit more difficult to get it because we only have 2 Energy Search, 2 Basic Lightning, and 3 Speed Energy. So we may not get the Lightning that easily. If we don't get it early, chances are we won't be getting it anytime. So we eventually decided to just play Suicune because it also gives you that special ability that helps you draw that extra 1 card from the top deck. And we can just play Paralyzing Bolt later anyways. It's better to play it fast though, because if you do it fast, they can't lose enough cards to do enough damage. If they lost enough cards, they can play Mirage Gate, they can play Lost Mine, they can play Cramorant, they can do a lot of things. So it's actually better if you play your Paralyzing Bolt early. But unfortunately for this game, we did not get our Energy Searches. Or the Special Energy, because the only Special Energy we have for this game is Speed Energy. So if we get any Special, we should be getting the Speed, and that means we would be able to do Paralyzing Bolt with Melony. That's why we have no Capture. Because if we play Capture and Melony, we would have 2 colorless on the Vikavolt. It's not going to satisfy the lightning cost, and we actually need 2 lightning for Super Zap Cannon, 1 lightning and 1 colorless for what's it called again? Paralyzing Bolt. So 2 lightning and 1 colorless for Super Zap Cannon, my bad. We got a Raihan as well for our Eelektros, just because Eelektros doesn't have Flaaffy for this game. Flaaffy is non-existent for the Melony variation. If we play Melony, I don't think we can afford to add that many Pokemons into the deck, because Flaaffy needs a lot of... You need a lot of level balls to be able to evolve it fast. If you don't evolve your Flaaffy early, you may not be able to attack that easily. So that's why I chose to eventually go one or the other instead of both, right? Either do a Melony, full-on Melony deck or a full-on Flaaffy deck. Instead of like juggling between both. Okay, Menifee, they're giving us the knockout though. If we get like a switch, we actually got the energy switch. Look at that, the energy surge. So we should not really be that worried because I think we have enough. For this game, we got a bit worried. We definitely have enough though. We should be attaching, we should be retreating to, but we actually drew a card though, right? We actually drew an extra card with Suicune. So it doesn't really count. If we did not do an extra card on the last turn, we wouldn't be getting our energy surge right now. So I don't know if it's smart to play the Suicune that early or if we should be playing the Vikavolt instead. Because locking against a Lost Box early is definitely a plus. A big plus. We still did not get our lightning energy with our Shauna, even after searching for a water. So sometimes you just get stuck. I don't know why. Because Lost Box, for some reason, always get the best luck. I mean, if you're playing a meta deck, you don't really need to use your brain. I'm sorry, but you don't really need to use your brain. Everything is thought out for you, and you always get the best luck. It's just how the game works. I've played this game for so many years, and I know what I'm talking about. If you play a meta deck, if you play new meta cards, you're gonna have a really, really high chance of winning. Like, it's crazy, through the roof crazy. You're gonna have so many wins playing a comfy deck that I just don't know what to say. It's ridiculous. It's just fucking ridiculous how easy it is to win with a Lost Box. Ridiculous. I mean, if you lose a single game with a Lost Box, it would be a fucking, it would be a fucking joke. Because they give you so much advantage. Not only do you have that much power and abilities and, the new synergy that actually works so well, they even give you the best hand. They give you the best hand, they give you the best luck, they give you the right cards at the right time. Roxanne at just the right side, like the right turn to play the Roxanne, the right turn to play your Mirage Gate is just crazy. They never lost the wrong cards. They never ever lost the wrong cards. It's just insane. Like, are you fucking serious right now? It's so hard to win against a Lost Box. So they did Mirage Gate, but they actually attached the water energy on the bench, which is pretty weird. So I think they were trying to empty their hand so that they can play a Cynthia or something. I think they played Colress though, my bad. I think they wanted to play a Crobat or something. I don't know what they were trying to do. They're trying to discard their energy. Or maybe they're just trying to play all the items before we can do our Paralyzing Bolt. Because they know it's coming. They're trying to prepare for the Vikavolt. We got a Menifee on the bench, so we shouldn't be worried about Greninja. Okay, they got a Mimikyu with Sableye. And here comes the Cramorant. So all you need is one Zapdos on the bench because it only has 110 HP. So Vikavolt is kind of a good card right now against the Lost Box, but it's not really that good against Kyurem. I tried against Kyurem, I lost a bunch of times. That's why you need a Metal Pokemon. If you don't play a Metal Pokemon in addition to your item lock, you're not doing enough damage for the knockout. Because even if you get to play Extreme Current, even if your Eelektross gets to attack, you still are not able to kill off the Kyurem that easily. And if you kill the V-Star, you're only collecting 2 prize. They're actually forcing you to kill not just the V-Star. If you don't get your boss, you actually have to kill not just the V-Star, but another 2 VMAX after that. And that would be virtually impossible unless if you do a boss. Because if you do an escape rope, they're probably going to have another VMAX on the bench already evolved. Okay, we're just gonna draw with Suicune first. Okay, we're gonna do that. Quick ball to basically thin out the deck from that one basic Pokemon. We're gonna get another Vikavolt. I think we should be playing Melony right now. Do we have a Water Energy discarded? Okay, we can finally play our Melony. There we go. They have the Sableye. They should be able to play it by now. If they do the damage counter, I don't know if they can win. We definitely waited way too long to play our Vikavolt. Because even if we couldn't do it, we should still be attaching the water onto the Vikavolt early in the game. I don't know why I played Suicune first. That was definitely a big blunder for this game. Even if you can't attack, you should still be investing your energy on the Vikavolt against a Lost Box, because you want to be attacking, you want to be locking them from using their item fast. Because otherwise they would have enough cards in the Lost Zone for them to play the Sableye. And if they play the Sableye, they can kill all of your support Pokemons much easier. They can kill your V cards with just 2 strikes. So all they need to do is attack with Cramorant first, and then Sableye later. Okay, finally doing the item lock effect. Now we actually need a Scoop Up Net so that we to help us bench a second Zapdos, right? If we don't bench a second Zapdos, we can't kill off the Comfy with Paralyzing Bolt. We actually have to discard with Super Zap Cannon. So the reason they chose not to play the Greninja is probably because we have our item lock and the Manaphy in play. Because even if they do Avery, even if they force us to discard the Manaphy or knock it out with a boss, whatever they do, we still have the item lock to prevent them from playing Mirage Gate. If they can't play Mirage Gate, they don't have energies for Greninja to attack. So that's the reason they just decided to give up on the Greninja. And, you know, I think they made a mistake for that turn because they actually retreated to the Comfy instead of the Sableye. They could already have done the Lost Mine, but they forgot that they could not play Scoop Up Net Switch. So they actually made a mistake, and now we got another free knockout. I think they need quite a few turns though, because now that we evolved the Tynamo, evolving the Tynamo is actually essential, because if you don't, Sableye is collecting way more prizes, knocking out not just the Manaphy, but also the Tynamo with just 1 strike. They got 2 prize with only 1 Sableye, which is just terrible. And then on the next turn, they can kill the Suicune for another 2 prize. So that would set us back by a lot. So that means we cannot afford to play, we cannot afford to evolve that late. I'm pretty sure we evolve on the last turn. If we evolve on this turn, it would be quite bad. So always think about Sableye. Have Sableye in your mind. Like, think about Sableye. Prepare for that card early in the game. Remember how much HP you have on the bench. Don't have too many basic supports on the bench. And we actually did not get the Scoop Up Net. We were trying to dig it out. No Scoop Up Net means we cannot actually play a second Zapdos for the knockout. We actually have our Stormy Mountain prepared, you know, ready to go for us to bench that Zapdos from the deck. But no bench spot. Here comes another flower, and they're gonna retreat. finally gonna retreat and do the Lost Mine. Okay, Colress. Yeah, we definitely made a huge mistake for this game. We shouldn't be attacking with Suicune first. Like, that is just stupid. We should definitely be playing our Vikavolt if they are playing a low HP 1 price, and always save the bench spot for a second Zapdos. Don't bench way too many Pokemons. We should be replacing the Suicune with like a Zapdos and investing our energies on the Vikavolt. Because if we do that early, we could have locked them a lot faster. We could have done a lot more. They can actually do double Cramorant to kill off the Vikavolt, but if that happens, we got our Raihan for Eelektros to attack maybe, or even like they just conceded because they actually made another mistake. They retreated to the Comfy with the air balloon. They forgot that they can't actually retreat twice, because even with the air balloon, you still can't retreat. So they should have done the Lost Mine already, but they still made another mistake twice in a row. Maybe the first time it wasn't a mistake though, because I don't think they played that many Chorus. They did do a lot of flower select. I think they selected a lot of times, but I'm not sure if they have enough for Sableye to do the Lost Mine yet. Okay, here comes an Ice Rider box deck. Is it an Ice Rider? Nope, it's an Arceus Rayquaza deck. So they have a decoy box. Arceus V-Star with Rayquaza doing easy knockouts with Max Burst. Okay, we're gonna put Vikavolt and Greninja. We got Schoolgirl for this list. I don't know why I eventually decided to remove Schoolgirl from the deck. It's actually quite a good card. It fits in quite well if you're playing so many V attackers. We got 2 Vikavolt and 1 Suicune. I think for this list we have Raikou and Zamazenta, so we got a lot of V cards for the additional attack. Not just the Vikavolt, because Vikavolt is not doing enough though, honestly, for a knockout. It's basically there for the control effect. If your opponent can get past the item lock, then they can win quite easily against Vikavolt, honestly. But if it traps them for even 1 turn, then you can collect the knockout on your next with your Paralyzing Bolt. If you have a Choice Belt attached or extra Zapdoses on the bench, it's gonna help you earn that extra 1 knockout early in the game for the win. So we had to play the Crobat. So that's why I eventually decided to play the Melony, because I don't think we can afford to play the Flaaffy if we need Zapdos against 1 price. So if you want to do Zapdos, you can't actually play that many Tynamos. You can't have that many bench supports. Only Greninja, like you can't afford to play Crobat and Greninja. Also, you cannot actually bench your next attacker. You actually have to bench it late and then do a Raihan or Melony to get it attacking with the air balloon. So it's actually quite a different sort of playing style, but it's still, you know, it's still just as viable, I would say. Okay, here comes Trinity Star. I don't think that's the Trinity Charge, my bad. And they're gonna do Max Burst to kill off the Vikavolt. If they have a Lightning Energy in their hand, they should be able to kill quite easily. If they don't though, Vikavolt survives 1 turn. So we actually have a double Choice Belt for this list. 2 copies means we are getting the tool card early, and I don't think we have an air balloon. I think we have something else, like a big parasol and more switch cards maybe. So we're gonna choice belt for an Arceus knockout early, which is delicious. We can't even bench the Zapdos for extra damage, but I don't think we need to. So we actually played against an Empoleon deck, and we made a lot of mistakes. That's why we didn't, we didn't fit into this video because we made too many mistakes. So we could have done the knockout against Empoleon with Paralyzing Bolt doing a second strike if we attached a choice belt onto our Vikavolt, because Zapdos' ability doesn't work. So the first hit that we did with our Vikavolt, we did not have a Zapdos on our bench. That's why we're only doing 100 base with the weakness. But on our second turn, on our second strike, we actually benched a Zapdos and forgot that the ability doesn't work because they have Empoleon. Empoleon has the Emperor's Eye ability, which actually locks all one prize basics from using their ability on your opponent's field. So that means your Zapdos has no ability, you're not doing extra damage with your basic lightning Pokemon, and you need a choice belt. And we actually do have the choice belt in our hand, but we were keeping it for our next Pokemon. We were keeping it because we only have that one copy, so we couldn't kill the Empoleon with our second hit, and that actually cost us one whole extra turn, which is terrible. Because I don't think you can afford to pass one turn not doing a knockout when you should be. Okay, they actually did kill our Vikavolt with a choice belt instead of an extra energy. So Vikavolt is quite easy to kill. That's probably the main weakness for this card. We actually do have a Rod as well. If we bolt right now, if we do the bolt, we could potentially lock them from evolving. I don't know. So we don't have as many switch cards for this deck. No air balloon, and but we do have the switch and the escape rope and that one scoop up net, so I don't think it should be that bad. We just played our switch already, so no more switch. We're gonna paralyze them. I don't think it makes any difference because they can evolve to remove the special condition. And we even got a tail, so it doesn't really make any difference. Oh well. We're just gonna dig for the switch card out. A second scoop on that maybe, or a bird keeper. I don't know what we were trying to dig for. We even got a second Flaaffy for this list. So we have 2 copies of the Flaaffy just in case the other one's prized. And I don't think we need a second copy in play necessarily. Sometimes we do though, if we need to attack with back-to-back Vikavolts. So we're trying to get the switch with the Bruno, and we actually did play the Ultra Ball and the Bruno to help us draw something for the next turn. We got the Bird Keeper at last, and they're finally gonna kill off the Greninja, so that Bird Keeper was for nothing, I suppose. If they don't evolve though, we got another 2 prize, but they're probably gonna evolve. If they evolve, they have to discard something. So I'm pretty sure they have Rose, which is gonna see play at some point, and then Rose is gonna help them kill off the Vikavolt quite easily. Because all they need is 2 energies, 2 energy discards with the choice belt. Oh, look at that! They got the Ultra Ball. If we retreated on the last turn, we could have done it already. Unfortunately, we couldn't have done the retreat with the speed energy, because if we do speed energy on the Vikavolt, we can't actually... Do we have an energy discarded though? If we have the energy already discarded, we should be attaching to the Greninja. I don't think we do, because if we attach to the Greninja, we can't draw the 2 cards out. If we don't draw the 2 cards, we can't actually discard for Flaaffy to attach onto the bench. That means we don't have enough for Vikavolt to attack anyways. But we do have the item log though, right? We have the item log. We should be playing the item log at least. I think we're trying to fish for a 1-hit knockout against the Rayquaza V. That's why we were kind of buying our time. We have the Paralyze. Oh, we didn't get it though. That was a bit of a waste. The Paralysis would have done so much. So now they just need 1 lightning. Will they get the lightning energy? If we have a Zapdos on a bench, we could have killed it with, you know... Oh, they have a Crystal Cave, it doesn't matter. Now we need to discard way more energies. So they did not get the lightning, which is very good news. We made quite a huge mistake on the last turn, I would say, because we should have done the Paralyzing Bolt, honestly. I don't know why we didn't do that. Paralyzing Bolt would have gone as... would have, you know, kept it as the basic. But I think we were kind of scared of the lightning energy. We were trying to just, you know... We were trying to wait for a knockout, because all they need is 1 lightning, right? If they get 1 lightning energy on the Rayquaza, even the basic, it would be enough to kill off our Vikavolt with 1 hit. So if we did Paralyzing Bolt, all they need is still just 1 lightning energy. But it would be a bit more difficult though. They can't play Energy Surge, they can't play item cards to get the energy out. So delaying the game, I don't think we have a choice to delay. Because it would actually give them a higher chance of playing the energy anyways. So if we wait too long, they would probably be able to attach the lightning anyways. So might as well just Paralyzing Bolt early, right? You never know what's the best thing to do though, honestly. Because if they have like the energy in their hand instead of the Ultra Ball, they could knock us out on the next turn. If they have the Ultra Ball instead of the energy, then they can't evolve and we got the win, right? We got the knockout. So you really don't know, like, there's no telling what's gonna happen. There never is. You never know what's gonna happen. And we got 3 tails for this game, which is just terrible. 3 tails with the fucking Eelektrik. Ad Hoc Shock not doing Paralysis at all. Totally fucking useless for this entire game. I mean, I don't know why they are making cards so much worse. I mean, Raichu from Sun and Moon has the exact same ability. I think it's from Unified Minds. Raichu's Evo Shock. If you guys look back at Sun and Moon, there is the same exact ability. Raichu. Evo Shock, when you evolve this Pokemon from your hand, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. It's exactly the same ability, but you don't have to flip a coin. It's a stage 1 Pokemon, same ability, and it even has a better attack, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it has a better attack. This one only has 1 energy though. 1 energy for 30 damage is not bad, but the ability is just terrible. Why are they making it so bad? Why do you have to flip a coin? Like, come on, there's so many ways to get past the Paralysis, and even then you have to flip a coin for it. It's just terrible. Ridiculous. They can evolve, they can switch, they can do a Bird Keeper. There's way too many things they can do. They can even do like a wind up arm right now. Like, it's just insane. They have so many cards to get past the Paralysis now. Spiral Energy. Like, let's not forget about Spiral Energy. Virizion, right? Virizion protects all of your Pokemon with Grass Energy attached from special conditions. And if we have Aromatic Energy as well. So Spiral Energy, we actually fought against Empoleon and they actually did Spiral Energy on us. So we not just made the Zapdos mistake, the Zapdos blunder, but we also made a mistake of forgetting about the spiral energy. That's why, you know, we thought about it right now, is because that we actually did experience a Empoleon spiral deck, which is just horrendous. Because Paralysis is not doing anything, Zapdos is just locked. Empoleon is not doing a lot of damage though, so... Okay, they got 24 damage counters on their active. We should be playing our Stadium to deny them from the recovery. Because if we play Eelektros, we should be able to knock it out. But right now, they actually... Oh, they knocked us out on the last turn. So right now, they did the recovery. Oh, we don't need to... I don't think we need to play the Stadium anymore. Because all we need is Paralyzing Bolt. 80 damage is exactly enough. 90. We actually got 90 because of the Zapdos on the bench. So 80 is actually enough to kill off the VMAX. Because they have 24 damage counters on it already. And we killed the final VMAX for the win. So even with the Eelektros, you know, dead early. Because we could have done Extreme Current for, you know, for an definite knockout. 160 damage is a lot. But instead, they are forcing us to play either a switch with the Flaaffy to do a second Super Zap Cannon, or to get, you know, the Choice Belt Zapdos. We already have the Choice Belt though, I think. I think we already have the Choice Belt. Not too sure. So that's why I say 2 Choice Belt is actually better, but I don't know. We just can't afford to play that many Choice Belt if we want to do the Melony early. And I think you actually need like at least 9 water energy with like 1 Capacious Bucket or Energy Surge if you want to play the Melony early with your Greninja. And obviously enough ways to discard your energy if you have Greninja, Quick Ball, Ultra Ball, Aurora Energy. I'm not too sure about Aurora though, because if you get it at the wrong time, you may actually get fanned. Since we're playing Speed Energy, we should be thinking about Aurora anyways. So Speed Energy is gonna get fanned as well. Might as well just play Aurora. If you discard Aurora Energy though, if you, for example, discard Aurora with your Greninja, you can't actually play Melony for it, right? Because Melony only allows you to attach basic water, obviously. So here comes a Palkia V-Star. They actually don't have a, you know, a secondary attacker. They don't have Ice Rider. They don't have Kyurem. So it's a lot more easy for us to, you know, dominate against a full-on water deck instead of a mix between water and ice. If you do water and ice, that's why we have Zamazenta right now. Zamazenta is gonna help us kill off the VMAX with 1 shot. And then after that, we got, you know, maybe Eelektros to do 160 damage to kill off one of the bench with Escape Rope or Boss. So that's the power of Zamazenta. We have to wait for a surprise knockout though. If we do it too early, we're gonna be screwed. We have to do like Flaaffy. We have to bench it late and then do a Flaaffy. It's not gonna be enough though. Obviously, you need 2 Flaaffy to charge it up. You only need 1 metal and 2 colorless, so it's quite easy to charge it up. But if you don't have 2 Flaaffy on the bench, you actually have to pass 1 turn on the bench, hoping your opponent don't do a boss. If they do a boss to kill it before you get to strike, then you're done for. So maybe play a Raihan in addition to the Flaaffy, I don't know. Because Raihan helps you search for the metal energy as well. You can search it for your basic metal, you can search for your Aurora, you can search for anything. If you have the Aurora already at hand, you can actually search for the basic Pokemon out. You can search for Zamazenta and bench it. But if you have to search for Zamazenta, that means you would not be able to attach the extra energy on it, right? So Raihan is not going to be able to help you charge up to do Revenge Blast for a win. for the knockout. Because the Revenge Blast needs 3 energies. Okay, here comes the Palkia. They actually are playing the new art, the fancy Palkia from the promo set. There we go, the promo set Palkia V-Star, fancy, so fancy. So Scoop on Net sometimes doesn't work if you're playing the Eelektros, Eelektrik, because sometimes you want to be attaching energy on the Eelektros for it to attack later on in the game. So I think we should be saving the second one for later, for us to play Ad Hoc Shock for Paralysis. I don't think we need the Paralysis though, necessarily, because we are doing a knockout anyways. If they kill Vikavolt with the Palkia, we got our Eelektrik, Eelektross, my bad, to kill off, to knock out for 2 price, killing off a V-Star for 2 price. They actually lock their own ability though. They're playing Path to the Peak, locking off their own Star Portal and concealed cards. They can't play Greninja to draw as well. So if they don't get the energy right now, we actually got another free knockout. I think it's gonna be quite easy for them to get the energy though. I mean, it would be quite ridiculous if they don't. Right? We are locking them. Oh, I forgot. We are locking them from playing the item. So they can't play Shady Dealings with the Level Ball. They can't do Level Ball to search for Capacious Bucket, and they can't even play the Capacious Bucket. If they got Irida, they can search for the item, but they can't play the bucket. So no bucket, no energy, and there we go, they can't attack. Look at that. That item lock helped us so much. Locking them from playing the bucket means they got no energies to attack, and now we got another free 2 prize, killing off a Palkia V-Star with Super Zep Cannon. We're gonna charge up our second Vikavolt with Dynamotor already. So we got Zinnia as well to help us discard the energy. If we don't play our Greninja, we got extra ways to discard in addition to the Quick Ball. So this is a very different list. We have Bruno and Zinnia. I don't think we have that many research. I think we have only 1 research and 1 Zinnia. Or maybe 2 research and 1 Zinnia. I'm not too sure, honestly. We even have a Zekrom, look at that. So no Zamazenta, we have Zekrom instead. I don't think we even have a Zapdos. And they finally get to play their item cards because we did Super Zep Cannon. Okay. Here comes the Palkia. Crazy Palkia. So now we just need the final boss to deal with the 1 prize. We have 1 remaining prize after the V-Star knockout right now. And we just killed off 2 Palkias in a row. Look at that. 2 Palkia knockouts in a row. And we got Dynamotor for another energy on the bench. Preparing for Vikavolt to punish them like crazy. And since Eelektross only needs 2 energies, all we need is like an escape rope to kill off for the final prize. If they somehow manage to play a Starmie and boss the Vikavolt, I don't think they can kill us with the Starmie though. If they somehow kill the Vikavolt on the next turn with the boss, by some miraculous skill of, I don't know, sleight of hand, they can actually deny us from attacking. But if they do that though, we actually got our Flaaffy to charge up for Extreme Current for the final knockout. We even got Bird Keeper in our hand. So all we need to do is put something else as the active. Dynamotor, attach the capture energy, and then do either Escape Rope or Bird Keeper for the win. If they do the boss, they can't play a Marnie, right? If they play a Marnie, they can't play the boss unless if they have Pokemon Catcher. And here comes the Starmie. Look at that. It is a full-on water deck with Starmie. Starmie and Greninja, because they got Star Portal for them to do Moonlight Shuriken. I'm pretty sure the Kyurem version of this list has a Greninja as well. So I think Greninja actually, my bad. Kyurem actually does help a lot more because you actually are playing two different types, and that means you have a much higher chance of winning. Since your opponent needs, two different, they need to target two different weakness. So we actually got lucky, I would say, because we are playing a Lightning deck, full-on Lightning with Zekrom as well. I don't think we have a Metal Pokemon for that game. We have no Zamazenta, no Megiurna as well. So I think if I just get in the voice right here and if you guys to focus on the game, hope you guys enjoyed this new combo. Today we are featuring the new Eelektrik with the Ad Hoc Shock ability, helping you paralyze your opponent's active Pokemon if you flip a heads as you evolve this Pokemon from your hand. We're playing this card with our Vikavolt V doing Paralyzing Bolt for an item lock effect, blocking our opponent from doing a switch on the next turn. We even have our Zapdos and Choice Bell for the damage boost and Melony to help us attack fast. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye for now, lovely people! Enjoy life!
Get it straight, man. Yo, fuck you, man. I don't know what you talking about. You need to get your shit for real, man. For real. Yeah. Yo, man. Remember that girl up in the front row? For real, for real.